The new proudly South African startup, Erudite Strategies, is leading the change for a sustainable mining industry, with Africa's mining project environment taking up Erudite's transformed offering. Erudite chairperson Vince Razaroka and Erudite director JOHANNESBURG outlined their attractive offering to Creamer Media staff writer Nadine James.
I've been an entrepreneur and I've been a CEO of multi-billion rand businesses. So I've got commercial experience both in South Africa and outside of South Africa. I've worked and lived outside South Africa. My new partners that I've joined to set up Erudite with, they've got mining experience. But I believe together we are in a better position to partner together, not just to comply with the new quotas, but to structure a business from day one that is actually compliant, because that's the way we would like to, to set up our business. And what really motivates us is we would like to answer the call with what our new president has said on Tumamina. But the principle that we really want to promote is Vuka Uzenzele. In the last 21, 25 years, post-1994, we as South Africans, we used to be almost anchored by that, but we haven't been using it too much. So what we really need to do is we need to say, we've got to wake up and actually make it happen for ourselves. So with our new partners within the mining sector, that's what we would like to do. We would like to qualify in terms of the quotas, but we don't want to have malicious compliance.
Johan, there was mention of the consolidation of the engineering space, or particularly in terms of EPCM providers. Could you please comment on that and how you guys are trying to differentiate from that?
Yeah, that's a very true comment. There's been substantial consolidation in the industry over the last couple of years, which is a function of the cycle. And really where we are at the moment is the service providing companies have become multinational global engineering service providers, and that's a good thing. They have the ability to tackle really large projects, but it makes it more and more difficult for them to comply with transformation in Africa, and specifically South Africa. So what we've said is we want to create a company from the ground up, founded on the fundamentals of transformation. Vince and I have in common business in Africa and experience in Africa, but essentially we've been drawn together because of a fundamental belief in being relevant for what Africa and South Africa requires. And that's a differentiator, because we will always be able to be compliant, because it's on that foundation that we've built the company.
You mentioned relevance. Could you touch on the importance of relevance from a project development space, particularly within specific African regions?
I think you've got to look at where your target market is and who your clients are. And the African mineral tenements are to a large extent held through foreign entities that are then sourcing funds through international stock exchanges to enable the development of those projects. So our clients are the Australians who have raised money on the ASX, and the Canadians or the Americans through the TSX, and similarly on London and AIM. And the value that we bring is Erudite's ability to not only develop projects because of our experience in Africa, but because we know how things in Africa work, because we understand the concepts of transformation, localization, partnerships in Africa. We have a very different offering, and that differentiates us from the bigger guys, because we are able to partner at a level where they probably can't.
Well, the other piece that we shouldn't miss is that with all these land issues that are being debated in the country, we have seen that the Department of Minerals has had a bias towards giving new licenses to previously disadvantaged groups. And these groups do not have the experience on how to get mining projects off the ground, how to get the capital, how to mine, these new projects, etc. With our experience, we could be the bridge that actually make it possible for them to actually partner with some of the multinationals and the internationals to actually get these projects off the ground, so we can actually start creating jobs and actually helping and contributing to infrastructure development.
What role does transformation and localization play in shaping or developing the mining industry?
It is absolutely key. From the earliest times, there's been a resentment against people who have come along to prosper from the wealth of our lands and then just disappear. So we ask ourselves, what legacy do we leave? And if we haven't left with having passed on some knowledge, experience, training, and that there's something to be remembered by, then we haven't succeeded. I think Africa is something that needs to be looked at very carefully from a point of view of diversity. You know, it's even in South Africa, you often hear the comment made that, you know, Africa is a tough country, and it just tells you how little people understand of the continent. Africa is not a country; it's a continent, and there are 53 different countries, all with different cultures, different languages, and different ways of doing business. And that's part of the particular value that we bring to the party, is an understanding of the diverseness of the continent and how to operate wherever you are. Because trying to convince somebody that you know Africa because you've built a project in Ghana or because you've built a project in Zimbabwe would be adding substantial risk to the overall equation. You know, every country is different and it needs a different approach. And we believe that that's where we can bring our vast experience across the continent to bear to make sure that those risks are managed better.
In terms of your vision, what's to stop you from being consumed or acquired by one of these bigger EPCM firms somewhere down the line?
I think it's a relevant question because there's always a question around what the actual intent is of what we're trying to do here. But I think that you will find that Erudite will become, and our vision is to become the preferred engineering service provider across the continent. But because, as we said earlier, it's founded on being relevant and it's founded on being genuine about transformation. If we were to sell off this company in a couple of years' time to another multinational, we would go 180 degrees against the grain of what it is that we founded this business on. So I think sit back and have a look, but what you find is we will be the acquirers rather than selling off to others.
The Erudite team has decades of experience in delivering complex projects in Africa. The project engineering company is being viewed as a virtual off-the-shelf owner's team with the technical knowledge to sign off on demanding technical reports that are required by global stock exchanges.